Tonight, teammates toe-to-toe, two of the NRL's biggest stars in a late-night dust-up. Teens in a wild 100-kilometre ride to Toongabbie, ramming police after allegedly stealing luxury cars. Sydney's asbestos scare spreads. A Liverpool school closed, Campbelltown Hospital cordoned off. A nail-biting back-to-back Super Bowl win for Kansas City, sealed with a tailor-made kiss. And the painful past the Mitchell brothers are using to help inspire the future.
This is 9 News with Peter Overton.
Good evening. They're just days away from taking the game to the United States and the world, but tonight, fresh embarrassment for the NRL. Two of the code's biggest stars are under investigation over a late-night scuffle after spilling out of a pub.
Team bonding, maybe not. Two of the Broncos' biggest stars going at it. Adam is the captain, Adam Reynolds, and in the other corner, Pat Carrigan. No punches, but plenty of push and shove. Hours earlier, the Broncos were one big happy family, celebrating Fan Day, signing autographs and mingling with the crowd. Both players all very positive.
The coaching staff have been fantastic in prepping us for the season ahead. And
grateful for their support because it's unwavering, and at the end of the day, maybe we're just going to play good footy.
Many of the players then moved on to a pub before CCTV captured the aftermath. Some wrestling before it was stacks on. It ended with the scuffle. Today, the Broncos were demanding an explanation of what went on, and the NRL's Integrity Unit has launched an investigation. The Broncos are due to fly out to the US in 10 days to prepare for the historic premiership launch in Las Vegas in early March. Selling the code to the States, these shenanigans a headache the league doesn't need. Damien Ryan, 9 News.
To breaking news, 7 teenagers have just been charged over an alleged crime spree stretching from the Central Coast to Sydney's west. The group is accused of stealing 3 luxury cars and ramming police before hitting speeds of up to 160 kilometres an hour.
Surrounded by 14 police cars, 5 teenagers inside an allegedly stolen black Mercedes on the Great Western Highway in Toongabbie. The end of a wild ride that started 2 hours before, some 120 kilometres away on the Central Coast.
There was about 3 or 4 times they raced up and down the island here. Excessive speed, no doubt in the world.
St Hubert's Island, 2 a.m. Police say a group of 8 arrived in a pair of allegedly stolen cars. They're accused of ditching them and stealing 3 more vehicles during an alleged crime spree that included breaking into homes armed with large knives. But when the teenagers tried to drive away, they didn't get far. It's hard to make out, but a police car arrived in time, blocking the only way out.
I think they're trying to find another way out. There isn't.
But authorities say one of the allegedly stolen cars rammed the police vehicle, pushing it out of the way. In that collision, 2 teens were arrested. 5 others in one car drove towards Sydney. A pursuit started and was called off because it was too dangerous. Around 4 a.m, it was spotted in Western Sydney.
They pursued that vehicle at speeds of up to 160 kilometres an hour.
Of the 7 teenagers arrested, police say 4 of them were out on bail, accused of committing similar offences, but authorities are still searching for one more suspect.
I'm aware of one offender that ran away from the BMW, and as I say, we'd appeal for any information or any dash cam.
In Toongabbie, Alex Heinke, 9 News.
Tonight, 2 new asbestos scares across the city, the latest found at Campbelltown Hospital this afternoon. All of this as a primary school in southwest Sydney was shut down, with students told to stay away.
In the playground at Liverpool West Public School, no kids today. Diggers and forensic cleaners taking over. Classes cancelled, the grounds shut down. 700 students forced into remote learning. Those who showed up were sent home after bonded asbestos was found in a garden bed over the weekend.
Does that worry you?
Of course it does, yeah.
Did you know there was no school today, sweetie?
No, we didn't know that. Yeah. I'm very sad because I love school.
We didn't want to compromise the safety of staff and students.
8 samples were taken from the newly developed primary school after it was realised that the mulch laid on the grounds was provided by the same company that supplied to Rozelle Parklands. 1 came back positive.
Well, provided it remains bonded, New South Wales Health advised that it does not pose a serious health risk. If the material is allowed to deteriorate, that potentially poses a larger risk.
We understand at this stage that it's not in any other schools, but we are double and triple checking.
Students have been told to stay home again tomorrow, with the schools staying closed while all recycled mulch on the grounds is removed and replaced. This afternoon, another asbestos alert at Campbelltown Hospital, joining several contaminated sites uncovered since January, including Rozelle Parklands and Interchange, the T3 Rail Corridor, Prospect Highway and Regatta Park.
The supplier in question is a common link across all the sites where we've so far had positive detections.
Supplier Greenlife says it undertakes regular testing of its mulch as it is prepared to ensure it is free of asbestos. The Environment Protection Authority has established a task force to find the source of contamination.
It is unlawful and a serious criminal offence to purvey or sell material contaminated in this way. The EPA has a major investigation on foot. The supply chain is under intense scrutiny.
In Liverpool, Sophie Upcroft, 9 News.
Police have arrested close to 600 of the state's most high-risk domestic violence offenders in a 4-day sting. Operation Amarok saw more than 1,100 charges laid, with police focusing resources on repeat offenders who made up more than a third of those arrested.
I think that police can arrest that many people only demonstrates, one, how seriously we take these offences, but secondly, how significant an offence and how significant a concern this is for the community.
1 in 4 calls to police relate to domestic violence. A man is fighting for life tonight after a car crash at Bardia in the city's southwest. The vehicle hit a fence on Campbelltown Road at 2:30 this morning, with firefighters working to free the 59-year-old passenger from the wreck. The driver, a 41-year-old man, was taken to hospital as a precaution. The Greens are threatening the federal government's first home buyer scheme unless there are more radical changes to tax concessions for homeowners. Tonight there's a standoff in the corridors of power as rents and home prices continue to grow.
All done. Is there any better bid above $3,650,000? Sold.
Tonight, that $1 million key in the door out of reach for so many.
In this country, it shouldn't be easier to buy your 5th home than to buy your first.
New figures show asking prices for homes are up 85% over the last decade, 12% since Labor took power. The Greens blame tax offsets for rental losses known as negative gearing and discounted tax rates for the profit from sales known as capital gains.
Can you explain to the House why Labor supports big tax cuts for property investors that are hurting renters and first home buyers by allowing investors to outbid renters trying to buy a home?
This is not a students' council, this is a parliament.
Labor took negative gearing and capital gains changes to the 2019 election and lost. The building industry says changes would mean fewer homes, not cheaper ones.
We've got a shortage of homes at the moment, particularly rental homes. Why on earth would you actually create a scenario where you're taking away an investor class?
I noticed that the Greens political party, having held up funding for public housing last year, now want to hold up funding to support Help to Buy.
That scheme sees the government co-invest with 10,000 first home buyers, but requires the Greens' backing, and that means negotiations over negative gearing.
What we found is that Labor says no, 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 yes, and everything's impossible until it's not.
There simply isn't the appetite in Labor for another policy U-turn, one that would be far less popular. But appealing to renters is fertile ground for the Greens and something they expect will bring them more power in future parliaments. Tonight, independent crossbench MPs introducing legislation to ban foreign ownership.
In one generation, we've taken away the Australian dream.
No one can afford that. No one is affording that. So people are not having kids. So we're a vanishing race.
Charles Croucher, 9 News.
And Charles joins me from Canberra. Charles, good evening. We have details tonight, new details about the criminal backgrounds of more than 100 people released into the community last year.
Evening, Pete. It's taken months, but tonight we've learnt the detainees that were released from immigration detention following that High Court decision came with a serious rap sheet. Of the 149 detainees released, 7 are murderers. 37 are sex offenders, 72 are violent criminals, there are 16 who've committed DV crimes and 13 for drug trafficking. Of those, 18 have committed another crime on release. Now, they are likely in a regular prison tonight, but not one has been sent back to immigration detention. The Prime Minister said this afternoon they are preparing applications to have some return to detention, but Pete, he wouldn't elaborate on how many or their offences.
OK, Charles, thank you. Israel has rescued 2 hostages from southern Gaza as it launched a fresh round of airstrikes on the city of Rafah. Benjamin Netanyahu says there is room for more than 1 million people to evacuate, doubling down on plans for a ground invasion into the area.
In the middle of the night, the bombardment of Rafah continued. More than 60 killed and many more injured, according to the Palestine Red Crescent Society. The wounded, dazed and bloodied, taken to whatever hospital had room.
More than 55 injured people, in addition to 16 dead bodies.
They told us this was a safe zone, this woman says, as the IDF announced it had rescued 2 hostages in an overnight mission in the south of Gaza. The men taken to hospital by helicopter. The aerial attack comes ahead of the anticipated ground assault. Just hours earlier, Benjamin Netanyahu launched his own blitz on US TV.
Those who say that under no circumstances should we enter Rafah are basically saying, lose the war.
The pre-war population of Rafah has swelled by more than 1 million people, mainly refugees from the north. They've left nothing for us, says Rafat. This is my child, says Feda. Where do we take him?
They can't just disappear. Where are they supposed to go?
No, well, the areas that we've cleared north of Rafah are plenty of areas there, but we're working out a detailed plan to do so.
The Egyptian government warns an invasion could upend the decades-old peace treaty with Israel. There are also reports Egypt has told Hamas it has 2 weeks to reach a hostage deal before Israeli troops move into Rafah. Several European nations have criticised Israel's invasion plan. The White House has expressed its concerns. Joe Biden telling Mr Netanyahu Israel shouldn't proceed unless he has a credible plan to protect civilians. Brett McLeod, 9 News.
King Charles has waved and smiled in his first public outing since Buckingham Palace announced his cancer diagnosis. The monarch seen attending church in Sandringham, where he's been undergoing his initial round of treatment. It comes after the King thanked people for their support in a statement. We are failing our children. That's the blunt assessment from experts who've investigated why 1 in 3 Australian school students can't read well. Researchers are calling for big investments from governments to better train teachers in phonics-based learning, where children are taught the sound each letter makes.
It's a fundamental life skill, but in a classroom of 30 kids, about 10 will struggle to read.
If they don't achieve that proficiency in the first 3 years of school, it's a game of forever catch up, lagging behind, struggling academically.
A Grattan Institute report estimates that costs the Australian economy about $40 billion over a lifetime. It says governments should set a long-term goal of at least 90% of children reaching reading proficiency.
Teachers are the engine in the schools. Without teachers delivering best practice instruction day in, day out, we're just not going to see those improvements.
The report found the long-running debate over the best way to teach reading has led to children being failed. It recommends a strong focus on phonics-based decoding skills, where students are taught to sound out the letters to read the word. That is now part of the national curriculum, but this report found many teachers didn't have proper training or resources to teach reading effectively.
It has to be a top priority for schools. We have to find a way to fund this work.
Some states are making progress. In New South Wales, South Australia and Tasmania, students undergo a phonics check in Year 1.
We have hit the ground running when it comes to addressing the teacher shortage, really bedding down explicit teaching and phonics teaching.
The federal government is deep in negotiations with the states over a new funding agreement.
We've got to make sure that we invest that money in the things that we know work, that are going to help kids who fall behind to catch up. And catch-up tutoring is one of those things.
The current funding deal expires at the end of this year. Jane Azzopardi, 9 News.
Well, Super Bowl 58 was as nail-biting as it was star-studded, with global pop star Taylor Swift cheering on her boyfriend, Kansas City's Travis Kelce, to back-to-back victories. The match was one for the ages and was only the second time a Super Bowl has gone into overtime.
A come-from-behind victory, a win worth the dash across the world, and an ending the NFL could have only dreamed of.
People talk about the relationship all year long.
Flanked by her A-list bestie and dressed up in Aussie designer Dion Lee. From the moment Taylor Swift arrived to cheer on her boyfriend, Kansas City's tight end Travis Kelce, the fans were loving it.
I want to see the engagement ring.
I'm so excited! I'm Taylor Swift fan.
As Taylor chugged a drink down, a trick play saw San Francisco marking their score on the board just moments before halftime.
McCaffrey's able to pull it down, and he's going in for the touchdown!
And like that, in Sin City, the showdown was on. A rematch 4 years in the making, Las Vegas bringing a battle under the bright lights, and at Allegiant Stadium, the star power was sparkling. But in this all-American game, it was an Australian doing us proud.
The punter from Perth, Australia.
49ers punt kicker Mitch Wisnowski at his second Super Bowl and booting it. Then, Usher leaving it all on the field. The king of R&B paying homage to the king of pop and rolling out surprise guests.
Some people want it all.
Artists he's worked with from the start. A 15-minute razzle-dazzle rollerblading extravaganza that had a sold-out stadium yelling. Back on the field, this game was tight.
Trying to take the lead. Mahomes goes for it right away. Wide open. Touchdown.
A touchdown for Kansas City, the 49ers fighting back.
Jennings did it!
For just the second time in Super Bowl history, the game headed to a nail-biting overtime. Before
Mahomes flings it. It's there! Hartman! Jackpot! Kansas City!
A clutch move from the MVP, Patrick Mahomes, sealed Kansas City's back-to-back championship win.
I am so happy. I'm going to stay up all night. I'm going to go to the casinos.
Let's go, Chiefs!
What a moment for Kansas City, stealing the game away to become back-to-back Super Bowl champions. One thing's for sure, here in Las Vegas, this party is just getting started. But maybe Kelce could leave the singing to his girlfriend.
Viva Las Vegas!
At Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Lauren Tomasi, 9 News.
Bit more sedate in here. Let's check in on the day's weather. Good evening, Amber.
Good evening to you, Pete. We enjoyed beautiful blue skies today with light to moderate northeasterly winds. After a low of 20, the city warmed up in the sunshine to a top of 29 late this afternoon, which is 3 degrees warmer than average. Out west falling to 18 before soaring to 33 degrees, the warmest day we've seen in a week. The warmer weather will stick around tomorrow, but there is rain on the way later in the week. I'll be back with the full forecast a little later, Pete.
Amber, thank you. Next in the news, Punch Bowl street inferno. This was no accident. Details on the firebombing in a moment. Plus, the much-needed Balmain Leagues Club redevelopment delayed again. A woman opens fire in a Texas church, the delicate mission to save children inside. And the Aussie camera technology in cars saving lives, seeing an accident about to happen. A car and motorbike were torched at Punch Bowl last night. Fire and rescue crews were quick to extinguish the blaze on Scott Street at around 10 o'clock. No one was injured. Authorities are treating it as suspicious. It has been sitting vacant for 15 years, and tonight the planned demolition of the former Balmain Leagues Club is facing another delay. Chinese developer Heworth, who owns the site, wants to use the state government's new affordable housing bonus to increase the site from 12 storeys to 16. The company is yet to lodge its new development application. Safety regulators want driver distraction cameras installed in every truck and car on Australian roads. It's claimed the technology has helped avoid nearly 500,000 crashes in the past year.
David Ide is in his truck up to 80 hours a week, watched at every moment by a special camera.
It's always working, all times. When you're working, it's working.
And waiting to act at the first sign of trouble.
There we go. That's all it does.
That alert triggered by the tiny infrared sensor that's tracking the face, the eyes and the body.
It detects whether or not the driver is paying attention or whether they're distracted.
And it's been heading off more than 1,000 high-risk incidents a day.
In the last 12 months, we've detected and intervened in 500,000 distraction events,
including 131,000 confirmed moments of drowsiness or microsleep and 55,000 instances of mobile phone use.
Without a doubt, the technology saved many lives.
It's in 25,000 vehicles nationwide, and Cube Group's been using it for several years.
I think there's an appreciation by drivers that it's making their job easier
and safer.
I know a lot of companies that installed the technology have said they wouldn't live without it now. Even when it comes to cost.
While the focus is on the heavy vehicle fleet to start with, road safety experts do expect to have this tech in passenger vehicles in Australia within a few years as it becomes mandatory overseas.
We're expecting, certainly over the next 3 to 5 years, that global regulations will harmonise and we'll see all cars manufactured with this capability inbuilt.
This truckie is certainly a fan.
I just find it's like a friend. If you're dozing off, or not dozing off, but getting lapse in concentration, there's someone there to tap you on the shoulder.
Heidi Murphy, 9 News.
7 train stations are set to be upgraded to make them more accessible. Macquarie Fields in the southwest will be the first. A new footbridge with lifts and stairs, covered walkways, new toilets and improved lighting. At 136 years old, the station has never been fully accessible despite being used by 10,000 passengers each week.
The fact is that parents with prams, people with luggage, the elderly, people with disability need to be able to access the train. And the way to do that is to put in a lift.
At a cost of more than $180 million, Lewisham, Bardwell Park and Chester Hill stations will also be upgraded, along with those in Queanbeyan, Griffith and Moss Vale. The NATO Secretary-General says the alliance stands ready to defend allies after Donald Trump threatened to encourage Russia to attack countries which hadn't paid enough money.
They said, well, if we don't pay, are you still going to protect us? I said, absolutely not.
Article 5 of the NATO treaty states that if an armed attack occurs against one of the members, it should be considered an attack against all. A woman in her 30s has been shot dead by 2 off-duty police officers after she opened fire inside a Houston megachurch. It's one of America's biggest evangelical churches with room for 16,000 people. Children were moved to safety after the shooting, which happened during preparations for a Spanish-language service. A huge road hazard no one saw coming at a busy intersection. A tree comes crashing down on a car, trapping the driver. The latest from the scene next. Also, the shock death of the world's fastest marathon runner in a car crash. The Aussie company where workers are now doing 9-day fortnights for the same pay. Could yours be next?
And the Epping School, the only one in the state that has its own set of traffic lights.
A driver has made an incredible escape after a huge tree came down on his Tesla at Brighton, southeast of Melbourne this morning. Nearby tradesmen ran to his aid, helping him out of the vehicle before he was taken to hospital in a stable condition. As for how the tree fell, well, that's left locals stumped. Meantime, a tree also came down at North Strathfield in Sydney's inner west, blocking the entrance to a supermarket car park for 15 minutes. Shoppers forced to wait for fire and rescue crews to clear a path. Marathon world record holder Kelvin Kiptum has died in a car crash in Kenya, aged 24. He and his coach were driving in the country's west in a high-altitude region, often used as a training base for long-distance runners, when the vehicle hit a tree, killing them both. The athlete had set a new record in October, running the Chicago Marathon in 2 hours and 35 seconds. A marathon trial has today got underway for construction boss George Alex, his son and 4 other men, accused of pocketing more than $13 million that should have gone to the Australian Tax Office. Jurors have been told they'll spend at least the next 6 months at the Supreme Court.
George and Arthur Alex arriving together for their day in court. The father and son denying roles in an alleged tax scam. They, along with Mark Briers, Gordon McAndrew, Lindsay Kirchberg and Pasquale Lochisano, accused of siphoning more than $13 million that should have been paid to the ATO between 2018 and 2020. The group ran legitimate construction labour hire companies, outsourcing payroll services and allegedly failing to hand over pay-as-you-go tax. Crown Prosecutor Chris O'Donnell SC likening the complex trial to building a house. Brick by brick, floorboard by floorboard, nail by nail. Presenting a Crown case has to be done witness by witness, question by question. The mountain of evidence also includes 130 hours of secretly recorded phone calls. 80 potential jurors were whittled down to 11 men and 4 women. All told, they'll spend 5 days a week here for at least the next 6 months. The panel also warned by the judge not to do their own research or investigation. Bruce Lerriman's aborted sexual assault trial in Canberra given as a disastrous example of what can go wrong. The 6 men have all pleaded not guilty. Tiffany Genders, 9 News.
Former Defence Minister Linda Reynolds will call time on her political career at the next federal election, expected early next year. The Liberal senator from WA was first elected in 2014 after a career in the army and defence industry. In recent years, she was drawn into the case involving her former staffers Brittany Higgins and Bruce Lerman. Imagine having every second Friday off. That's now the reality for employees who work for energy company Santos. After a 12-month trial, the changes have been made permanent for all office-based employees. They'll receive the same pay and are expected to work the same number of hours in 9 days instead of 10. The academic year is underway and at Coronga Special Education School in Epping, even entering the grounds is a learning opportunity. The lesson is road safety and the teacher is a working pedestrian crossing.
Young Madison is starting kindy at Coronga School, where these traffic lights will be her first lesson every day.
Press the button. Good girl, all done.
A school for moderately to severely intellectually and physically disabled students. This lesson at Coronga is taught by the only set of working traffic lights inside a New South Wales school.
William's away. He knows what he's doing. It gives them a chance to practice safety with the road in circumstances they might not be able to readily access in their day-to-day life.
The lights erected late last year. The idea sparked over concerns about students learning to travel safely.
Red man, stop.
That's it.
We said, well, you know, what exactly would make a difference? And they said, well, to be able to practice in a safe environment road crossing.
Because we're really frightened that Maddie might get away one day when we're not trying to hang on to her. Boom, cross the road. She sees this, she'll stop if she knows. It's just terrific.
That learning to live Coronga ethos extends to other facilities such as its 360-degree interactive room that also helps train for travel, created through grants from the local Epping Club.
It's just basically giving the kids a real experience of what, training for life, for real life.
And a new mini Woolies to help with shopping skills will open tomorrow.
We're just really fortunate to work with some great people and really genuine interest, not tokenism.
At Epping, Mike Dalton, 9 News.
And I know the kids from Coronga are on the couch at home watching the news tonight. Hello to you all. Ahead, pay off your home through your weekly shop. The new cashback scheme promising to reduce your mortgage. Talk about a craving, the incredible lengths this thief went to steal donuts. James, the Mitchell brothers, they're on a mission.
They are indeed, Pete. Yes, they're using past trauma to send a powerful message on Friday night. Coming up, how Latrell and Shaq will turn childhood torment into a beacon of hope for future Indigenous All-Stars. Nathan Cleary, like you've never seen him before. We're live with the Playmaker for the premiere of the Panthers documentary. Plus, how Kansas City's Patrick Mahomes put a Tom Brady record within reach.
And we can look forward to more sunshine tomorrow before the wet weather returns. I'll have your full forecast soon.
They'll be in their element together on Friday night for the Indigenous All-Stars, but it hasn't always been so simple for the Mitchell brothers. Tonight, Latrell and Chiquay open up to 9 News about the racism they faced growing up and hopes of inspiring others inflicted with the same pain.
Culture, heritage, pride and passion. This is proof rugby league is far more than just a game. A special smoking ceremony, then valuable time in the community inspiring the next generation. Chiquay and Latrell Mitchell living out a lifelong dream.
Get to put on a jersey with your little brother. I know it means the world, well, to me anyways, and I know it does for this fella as well. So grew up playing together.
Plenty of fights in the backyard.
That I won, so that's all right.
Busted lips.
Yeah.
They always had each other's backs through some tough times as kids.
A lot of racism. We grew up as kids, and people driving past in their cars yelling out, "You're black this, black that," and other examples where we're at games, 9 and 10-year-old kids playing for Taylor Drovers, and parents yelling out and being racist because we're carving their kids up.
Do you remember what that was like as a 9-year-old copping that?
Scary, 100%. We used to have the sprint home, or and close the curtains, and remember lock the doors, and just stuff like that makes you feel inferior.
Latrell's resilience is a big part of the reason he's become the face of Indigenous rugby league.
I think people just they lean towards someone that can they can resonate, and I think I've been that person a very long time.
Whatever anyone sees on TV or anything like that, that's just that's the competitor. But there's a completely different side of him, and not many people see it. But yeah, he's a like you said, he's a very passionate bloke. He's
thanks, Brett. Hey.
Oh, right.
Very nice of you.
Shaq and Latrell now preparing for their second match together in this Indigenous jersey up against the New Zealand Maldives on Friday night here in Townsville. Emma Lawrence, 9 News.
Well, NRL clubs are ramping up for season kick-off too. Tonight, though, the Panthers are taking the night off for the launch of their new Premiership documentary series. Danica Mason is in Penrith for the premiere and standing by with one of the stars of the show.
Yes, good evening, James. Certainly one of the stars of the show, Nathan Cleary. He features heavily in this brand new documentary. Nathan, the access that this documentary has in the lead up to that incredible grand final victory to make it a three-peat is unbelievable. What was that experience like for yourself?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy being able to watch it back now. At the time, you probably don't take too much notice of it. You do a few interviews here and there, and you always see sort of Henry around with a camera, but you're sort of just going about your work. But to see the end product and what him and the rest of the team behind the scenes have been able to put together, it's pretty amazing, and just happy we get the win to make it even better. It's
quite inspirational. Does it spur you on for that three-peat?
Oh,
four-peat?
Yeah, for sure. Just being able to watch it back and feel all those feelings again, it's addictive, and you want to be there to do it again, but we know it's a tough task and don't want to look too far ahead, but we definitely love that.
Well, we enjoy watching the premiere of it this Friday, and every single episode, there are 3 of them, they'll be dropping for the next few Fridays. James?
Thank you very much, Danica and Nathan, all on 9 Now. Well, the rumour has been circling for months, and today, Davida Pengai Jr. only added to speculation he's set to return to the National Rugby League. Asked whether he'll sign with the Broncos, at first he laughed it off before offering this.
I think I could do both. I spar every week, so twice a week, and I played footy since I was 4 years old, so both codes, rugby league and rugby union.
Before then, Davida will step back into the ring in March. He's had a luckless run with injuries over the summer, but Josh Schuster is adamant it won't derail his season. The Seagulls star declaring he's fitter than ever and ready to remind the rugby league world what he's capable of.
Stepping out for the Seagulls' season launch, Josh Schuster back in the spotlight after an off-season of setbacks.
This is probably the best pre-season I've had since those 3 little hiccups.
Chickenpox, a fractured finger and a calf strain. Adding to scrutiny, the 22-year-old will start the year out of shape.
I'm pretty used to it now, actually. I just got to pull my head down, and I just know deep down my footy will take care of itself, and there'll be less articles about me.
He is likely to play in Las Vegas, returning to the back row.
I played back row in my juniors. My first year of NRL, I played back row, and that was probably my best season since I've been in NRL, playing in back row. So I'm happy to be back there, and I'm excited.
The man replacing him in the halves, Luke Brooks. Manly's new recruit starred in their trial win over the Rabbitohs, but he's happy to take a back seat.
There's a lot of big dogs here, so I can just sit back and just focus on footy and not worry about any outside things.
That'll fall on Daly Cherry Evans, but the pair won't play together until round 1.
As quickly as we want it to gel, there might be some teething issues. I think it's going to click. I'm just hoping it clicks quicker than, I guess the first month.
Samantha Pote, 9 News.
Glenn Maxwell is back to making headlines with his bat. The all-rounder blasting 120 runs off just 55 balls, guiding Australia to a 34-run win over the West Indies in Adelaide. The first time he's returned to the South Australian capital since he was taken home in an ambulance after a night out drinking.
Probably affected my family a little bit more than it affected me. I was back into training. I was still trying to think about this T20 series. The coach, Bales, everyone really, they've been outstanding.
It's Maxwell's 5th T20 international ton, equalling the all-time record. And the future looks bright for the Aussies, winning the Under-19s World Cup for the 4th time. Australia beating reigning champions India by 79 runs overnight in South Africa, reclaiming the trophy after 12 years. That team contained Mitch Marsh and Josh Hazlewood. Wanderers coach Marco Rudan chose to hold his tongue this week, although his chairman did not, after they finished with 9 men in their 3-3 draw with the Newcastle Jets. Western Sydney scoring in the final moments to salvage a point, consolidating their place in the A-League's top 6. Arsenal's fired a warning shot in the race for the Premier League title, thrashing West Ham 6-0. The goals were shared around for the Gunners, moving them within 2 points of current leaders Liverpool. Manchester United, meantime, defeated Aston Villa 2-1. That result leaving Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham inside the top 4. And it'll go down as one of the great Super Bowls, the Kansas City Chiefs beating the San Francisco 49ers 25-22 in overtime to claim back-to-back NFL championships. Quarterback Patrick Mahomes, the hero, earning a 3rd MVP title, now 2nd on the all-time standings behind Tom Brady's 5.
We're not done. I know we're going to celebrate tonight, celebrate the Pride Wednesday, Kansas City, but we're not done.
It's the Chiefs' 3rd Super Bowl title in 5 years, a Super Bowl story without a shot of Tay-Tay. Oh, no, there she is. We almost did a disservice to you, Swifties. Thank you, Pete.
Very cool. Thank you, James. Next on 9 News, the shopping cashback scheme promising to help you pay off your mortgage. We'll tell you what's left billionaire Richard Branson bloodied and bruised. And could the secret to curing cancer be hidden in these wolves of Chernobyl?
The great Aussie dream, gathering grass.
There's nothing we can do at the moment, just wait.
Families trapped by delays in Sydney's southwest.
It's at the point now where the dream is gone.
Is our race to build homes costing too much?
I think this is a disaster waiting to happen.
9 News, your news, tomorrow at 6.
This morning, JB Hi-Fi told investors its profit and revenue have dropped and it's going to give them a smaller dividend. And then its shares hit a record high, which seems a bit odd. But investors had been expecting even worse. So even though the news was bad, they were pretty happy. And it's been a bit of a theme. Harvey Norman and Premier Investments, the latter owns Just Jeans and Smiggle, are also at nearly 2-year highs, despite Australians having less to spend at the shops than they used to. Overall, the ASX was lower today, down 30 points, with CSL down sharply, and the Australian dollar was mostly weaker, buying 65 US cents and 60.4 euro cents.
Thank you, Chris. Sir Richard Branson has revealed he's been in another cycling accident, this time in Virgin Gorda, a British Virgin island. He hit a pothole and suffered a hematoma on his hip, but says he's counting himself very lucky. Wolves roaming the streets of Chernobyl appear to have developed a resistance to cancer, despite being exposed to dangerous levels of radiation. A nuclear reactor exploded at the Ukrainian city's power plant in 1986. It's hoped the findings will help scientists fight the disease in humans. They've been around for years, but with the cost of living soaring, cashback schemes are growing in popularity. Now, in a world first, one scheme is helping customers pay their mortgage.
Imagine having bonus money deposited into your home loan account.
I set it up and then I forgot about it and it just happens. Any and every little bit helps.
Grow My Money is an Australian scheme turning your shopping into home repayments through cashbacks.
Let's say I spend $1,000 at Big W pays $25 into my mortgage or my super.
Bernadette Jansen signed up 6 months ago. Her shopping cashbacks helping her children with their mortgages.
It's just happened in the background. It's seamless.
Through the Grow My Money website, you can shop online at more than 1,000 retailers for cashbacks, or for in-store purchases, link your credit or debit card. It's paid straight into your nominated mortgage account, or if you like, your super fund instead.
You don't have to withdraw it. You don't have to go to that effort of withdrawing the money. We automatically pay it every month.
There are other schemes like Top Cashback, Cash Rewards, Kickback and Shopback that all give a percentage of your purchase back. With all the programs, the retail stores pay them a commission for driving the sales, which is passed on in part to the user.
You have to be cautious, so this isn't free money.
While cashback programs argue customers are doing their shopping anyway, so they may as well be rewarded, retail experts warn they can make us spend unnecessary money on items that could cost less elsewhere.
Shop around to start with, compare prices, compare discounts direct to the retailer.
Though the payoff can be worth it when you're already in the market for a big purchase, like a new TV or a couch.
You're looking to spend a couple of $1,000, getting a couple $100 back is a good deal.
Claire Todd-Hunter, 9 News.
Well, the temptation was too much for this man, seen stealing an entire tray of donuts from a store in Melbourne. He waited until a staff member stacking chairs moved away before he snatched the treats and fled. Here's the weather with Amber.
Thanks, Pete. It will be mostly clear tonight with light northeasterly winds. Right now, it is still 25 degrees in the city, 28 in our west. I'll have your forecast in just a moment. Blue skies and sunshine today with a gusty northeasterly breeze picking up along the coast this afternoon. Temperatures around 3 degrees warmer than average, reaching 27 in Terry Hills, 29 in the city, 31 in Kellyville and Parramatta, and 32 degrees in Richmond, Blacktown, Liverpool and Campbelltown. Across New South Wales, we saw a few clearing showers along the north coast with isolated afternoon showers and storms over northern inland areas. Top temperatures mostly above average, most notably in the southwest, with Mildura reaching 40 degrees. That is 8 degrees warmer than average. Tomorrow, hot and gusty winds will affect parts of South Australia and Victoria with extreme fire danger ratings in place. That's before a cold front and trough move through, bringing showers and storms to Victoria, Tasmania and southern New South Wales. A possible shower on the way for Brisbane tomorrow, heading for 29 degrees, a shower or two in Canberra, 31, and an afternoon storm in Melbourne after a very hot day, heading for a sweltering 37 degrees. A few showers are expected tomorrow around the Riverina, the central tablelands and the upper west, while a heat wave will continue in parts of southern New South Wales before that cool change moves through, heading for a top of 37 in Albury, 36 in Wagga Wagga and 33 degrees in Batemans Bay. Sydney will be warm and mostly sunny tomorrow. There is a slight chance of a shower or storm tomorrow afternoon and evening in the west, but it is only a 10% chance, heading for 28 degrees in Cronulla, 31 for the city, 33 in Kellyville and Parramatta, and 34 degrees in Richmond, Penrith, Liverpool and Campbelltown, around 4 degrees above average. Let's take a look ahead. An afternoon showers and a possible storm on Wednesday after a top of 30 degrees. That could bring up to 7 millimetres of rain. A shower or two on Thursday with a cooler top of 25. A few possible showers on Friday, warming up to 27. Then the weekend, not looking too bad, mainly fine with a possible shower. Tops of 28 to 29 degrees and those overnight lows ranging from 19 to 23. In our west, afternoon showers and storms on Wednesday will bring 4 to 20 millimetres of rain, 32 degrees. And we will see a cooler change on Thursday with a top of just 24. A shower or two every day from Friday through to early next week, and those nights will range from 18 to 21 degrees, Pete.
Amber, thank you. Ali is next with the current affair. That is 9 News for this Monday. I'm Peter Overton. I hope you have a good evening. From all of us, good night.